Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Remember to like and subscribe for less vampires next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building monster hunter Trevor Belmont, one of several hunters of evil we'll be taking a look at to celebrate this, the spookiest of months. So get your fun-sized candies, put on your costume, it's time to hunt the most evil creatures of the night, people who give out toothbrushes to trick-or-treat. Oh wait, no, it says vampires.
I say whip it! Whip it good!
Let's kick things off with our goals for this build. First, we need a magical whip that will put the hurt on immortal bat persons. Next, we'll make sure that we're particularly good at mashing monsters. Finally, we need to be able to defend ourselves regardless of whether or not we have our family heirloom. For stats, we're using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just watch out for dexterity and wisdom. Dexterity will be number 1, you don't wear heavy armor, and a whip requires finesse. Constitution next, people who step to Dracula with low HP are what we in the living business like to call dead people. Intelligence after that, it helps to have a firm grasp on history and religion to hunt monsters. Wisdom after that, again we need it for multi-classing, so we'll bump it a little with some racial bonuses, but make this a higher priority if you rolled poorly. Strength is a little low, but we'll add our proficiency bonus to virtually every strength roll and don't need it for combat. But we'll dump charisma. Your social skills are severely lacking. For race, you're not a magical being, you're a person doing their best, so variant human is what I'll be picking. Take defensive duelist for a feat. I made a little whoopsie in the Darth Vader video. You need 13 dexterity and a finesse weapon to do this. But it lets you use your reaction to add your proficiency bonus to your AC while you're holding a whip. That's a finesse weapon and nothing in the other hand. Trevor is remarkably hard to hit, which is good because taking a hit from the things you're fighting is an express ticket to Deadsville. Bump your dexterity and your wisdom with your 2 free points. Take perception for your skill of choice and the acolyte background for religion and insight proficiency. You're really good at reading people after they kick your ass. Kick things off as a fighter. First level fighters grab 2 skills from their list to go for acrobatics and athletics. They're perfect for a guy who is nimble but also pretty stacked. You can also choose a fighting style. Dueling is perfect for a whip. It gives you +2 to damage rolls with a weapon you're wielding one-handed while you're not holding anything else. A whip is a quirky little weapon. It only deals 1d4 damage, but it has the reach property, which means you can hit enemies that are 10 feet away instead of 5. Later in the build, we'll be able to buff that a little bit, but for now, it's a great tool to engage without fully engaging. You also get Second Wind, letting you restore HP equal to 1d10 plus your fighter level as a bonus action once per short rest. Vampires don't sleep, so this will help you pull that all-nighter. Second level fighters get Action Surge, letting you take a second action once per long rest, helping you keep up with all those undead beasties heading your way. Third level fighters can choose a martial archetype. The Monster Hunter is from an Unearthed Arcana, so you'll need your DM's permission, but I've never met someone who thought that this subclass was overpowered, but stickler's gonna stickler. You can scoop up 2 more proficiencies. History and Arcana are Belmont staples. I'd look into those. The big draw here is combat superiority die. These are 4d8s you can add to attack rolls, damage rolls, insight checks to determine if someone's lying, or any intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw you make. If you add it to the damage roll, the target you hit also has disadvantage on concentration saves, so this is my personal favorite. These recharge on short rests, so take a quick hour-long nap and you're ready to go. You also get Hunter's Mysticism, letting you cast Detect Magic as a ritual to find magical auras and what school of magic they belong to, as well as protection from evil and good once per long rest. This gives aberrations, celestials, elementals, fiends, fae, and undead disadvantage on attack rolls against a creature you touch. They also can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed by those creatures. It lasts for up to 10 minutes, depending on your concentration, and should really help you out when you're fighting monsters way above your recommended challenge rating. 4th level fighters get an ability score improvement. Bump your dexterity. Most of your damage is coming from your superiority die and your modifier. The whip die, not great. 5th level fighters get an extra attack, letting you make 2 attacks with your action instead of 1. Trevor tends to get himself in a little bit over his head. This should help you level the playing field. 6th level fighters get an ability score improvement. The odd numbers in intelligence and wisdom are honestly driving me insane, but capping your dexterity needs to be your top priority. Sure, a d4 is weak, but a +7 damage roll is strong. Heading over to Monk now, 1st level monks get unarmored defense, making your AC 10 plus your dexterity and wisdom modifiers while you're unarmored. Currently, that's 1 worse than studded leather, but you can increase your damage per round if you use martial arts. You get to deal 1d4 with your unarmed attacks, use your dexterity modifier instead of strength, and make an unarmed attack as a bonus action after you make an unarmed attack or an attack with a monk weapon. Technically, a whip can't be a monk weapon just yet, but we're getting there. Benefit here is that people can take your armor off, they can take your whip away, but they can't take your hands off. I mean, they can. Maybe I shouldn't give them ideas. but you know what I mean. Second level monks get unarmored movement, increasing your movement speed when you're not wearing armor. This will scale up with your monk level, so keep an eye on it. You also get key points that you can spend to do cool guy stuff. Flurry of Blows lets you make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action instead of 1. Patient Defense lets you dodge as a bonus action. This pairs very well with Defensive Duelist, which uses your reaction to make sure that you're really safe. And Step of the Wind lets you dash or disengage as a bonus action. Trevor can keep up with Alucard on foot, and that dude is freaking magical. Third level monks get Deflect missiles, letting you reduce ranged attack damage by 1d10 plus your monk level and dexterity modifier as a reaction. If you drop it to 0, you can yeet it back as a bonus action. It'll deal your monk die in damage. But the reason we really came here is for the way of the Kensei monk. You can pick 2 weapons to become Kensei weapons, which are just monk weapons that can be martial, so the whip is now monkified. Hooray. You can use this for an agile parry, which lets you add 2 to your AC if you used an unarmed attack as part of your action. You can pair this with Defensive Duelist as your reaction and Patient Defense as your bonus action to get real defensive. You can also use that bonus action for a Kensei shot, letting you add 1d4 to ranged attacks from a Kensei weapon. Trevor tends to stick to the whip, but there are nice options. Don't feel obligated to ignore them just for character accuracy. Before we move on, you get the Way of the Brush for calligraphy skills. If there's one thing that can bring down Dracula, it's a strongly worded letter with immaculate penmanship. Calligraphy is the most important skill in the game. 4th level monks get Slow Fall, letting you reduce your falling damage by 5 times your monk level as a reaction. All those castles in your area have big drops. Now you don't have to worry about that. Use your ability score improvement to round up your wisdom and intelligence for better AC and lore knowledge. 5th level monks get Stunning Strike, letting you force a constitution save against creatures you hit with a melee attack. Failing it, they're stunned until the end of your next turn, which means all your follow-up attacks have advantage. Pro tip, wait for a crit, then add your superiority die to the damage for a big ol' hit. Your monk die also increases to a d6, which means your whip is now a short sword with reach. That's pretty cool. 6th level monks can officially bless their whips with magical Kensei weapons, making your weapons magical for overcoming resistances. This fixes my major issue with the Monster Hunter archetype. While it offers great options to hunt and hurt monsters, the lack of magical damage means that all those freaky things you're supposedly great at killing will resist all your damage. If you want to deal more damage to the freaky things, Death Strike lets you spend a key point to add an additional monk die to damage rolls with Kensei weapon once per round, meaning that up to 6 times per day, your whip can deal the damage of a greatsword. You also have key empowered strikes, making your unarmed attacks magical, so punching Dracula might actually do something if his AC and HP weren't so damn high. Back to fighter now. 7th level monster hunters get the Monster Slayer ability, letting you spend 2 superiority die to add damage to 1 attack, and if you're hitting an aberration, fiend, fey, or undead, those die automatically deal the maximum amount. You get a 5th superiority die as well. Kinda stinks that we had to wait 7 levels for this, but if the whip ain't magic, the resistance is tragic. 8th level fighters get an ability score improvement. More wisdom means higher AC, potentially 25 at this point with agile parry and defensive duelist. Sure, that's only for 1 attack, but it's 25 AC. That's worth mentioning. 9th level fighters get Indomitable, letting you re-roll a failed saving throw once per long rest. Keep in mind, if that's an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma save, you can also throw a superiority die on it. I love characters like Trevor, just some human being doing their best and sticking in the fight, so stick in the fight and do your damn best. 10th level monster hunters improve their combat superiority die to d10s. Honestly, I think this is kind of underwhelming on the very similar Battle Master subclass, but with the guaranteed max damage from Monster Slayer, it really pays off. 11th level fighters get another extra attack for 3 attacks per action, with the ability to add another unarmed strike with martial arts as a bonus action, or 2 with Flurry of Blows. Instead of saying, "Oh no, I'm surrounded by monsters," you'll make the monsters say, "Oh no, we surrounded Trevor Belmont." 12th level fighters get another ability score improvement, more wisdom, and a quick check-in. Your max AC for an attack is 27. Oh boy, that's a lot. 13th level fighters get a second use of Indomitable per long rest. Stay alive. If you die, some necromancer is going to have a very strong zombie. Crapstone is the 14th level of fighter. For an ability score improvement, capped wisdom will make sure your head is on a swivel so it doesn't end up on a spike. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you are incredibly hard to hit, which wasn't really a goal I started this build with, but it makes sense, as 1 hit from Dracula is curtains for a mortal. Your base AC, 20. It's 22 when you got agile parry. It's 28 with defensive duelist, not to mention that you can use patient defense to give them disadvantage on that roll, or protection from evil and good to give all bad guys disadvantage on that roll. What I'm saying is, if you want to play defensive, that's an option. You're also dealing some very consistent damage, with between 3 and 5 attacks on a standard round, up to 8 total, all with a damage modifier somewhere between 5 and 7. It's math, you can do it, but it's good. Finally, monsters and their thick hides are no match for your magical whip and monster slaying superiority die, letting you add a guaranteed 50 damage per short rest against spooky enemies. For weaknesses, 5 superiority die are going to fly by pretty fast, especially if you need them for saving throws against Dracula's plethora of spells and effects. Key points are also going to go by pretty quickly, and you've only got 6 to use per short rest, but you'll probably run out around round 6, at least if you play monks like I do. Finally, you're a real jerk, and a -1 charisma modifier can make it hard to avoid being banished or plane shifted, and even harder to make friends. But you don't need friends. You just need people who don't want Dracula to destroy all of humanity, which should be everyone. Find a couple of badasses, rally around a common enemy, and then head back to the bar. Just remember to take a break every now and then. Avoiding short rests could send you to a very, very long one. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 builds every week. I kind of teased Ed Elric last week, and then we didn't do it because I didn't have enough time to watch all of Full Metal Alchemist, but he'll be out next week, I promise. See you then.